This podcast is a quest for well-being, a quest for a meaningful life through the exploration of fundamental truth. Enlightening ideas, insights on physical, mental, and spiritual health. The inspiration is love. The aspiration is to awaken new ways of thinking that can lead us to a new way of being well. Welcome to Body, Mind, and Soul Healing Conversations.
Practicing mindfulness allowed me to pay mind to my emotions, validating them without adding judgment or blame to myself or others. Valeria Teles interviews Alana Cahoon, the author of Mindfulness, Mantras, and Meditations, 55 Inspirational Practices to Soothe the Body, Mind, and Soul. Alana Cahoon serves professionals to transform their lives and relationships by creating a solid foundation for workflow and life balance. She assists professionals to strengthen their leadership skills, leap into entrepreneurial endeavors, and to manage transitions. Ms. Cahoon began her studies in holistic health at the New York Open Center in NYC and is certified as a natural health professional with concentration in nutrition, Reiki Master in several lineages, and Hatha Yoga. One of her fondest moments was organizing the visit of Buddhist Monk and Nobel Peace Laureate Thich Nhat Hanh. Her business acumen was formed through a journey of temporary assignments in NYC's corporate offices. She was manager at the American Business Council in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, program director of one of New York State's technology business incubators, and marketing consultant. One of her business accolades was serving on the grant writing committee that became the recipient of a $6 million award. As an artist, Alana has recorded numerous CDs of original music and covers. These can be found on Amazon and iTunes. Her voice has been described as sultry, angelic, and bluesy. She's a graphic designer, videographer, photographer, painter, dancer, and actress. Her bachelor's degree in theater led her to New York City, where she performed off-Broadway and in the jazz and progressive rock club circuit. One of her favorite theatrical experiences was going on tour performing Molière. Meet Alana at alanacahoon.com. Here is the interview with Alana Cahoon.
In your own words, who is Alana Cahoon?
She is a soul seeker. She's a creative spirit who loves to make people happy and to inspire others to fulfill their purpose in their lives.
When you say soul seeker, what do you mean by that, Alana, exactly?
You've heard the phrase body, mind, spirit, or body, mind, soul.
Yeah.
And we are trained in the American culture anyway to sharpen our mental skills, our mind, and to take care of our bodies. The spirit or the soul piece is sometimes taken care of as well. There's a lot of freedom there. And I think there are so many choices to support. And I think I'm referencing different philosophies and religions that sometimes people just give up or, don't look to find something that really truly resonates with them, with their spirit, their soul, which is really their heart center, right?
Do you actually connect or use the same way those two words, soul and spirit? Are they the same to you?
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah, interesting answer. Right. All connected for sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So spirituality is another idea we have, concept. So I'll ask you two questions related to that. What is spirituality to you, and what is to be spiritual?
Spirituality to me is seeing the divine in all things, in all beings, all creatures. And when we can look at life that way, we're much kinder to everyone. We care more about things, about the earth, about nature, about humanity. And then spirituality for me is doing my best to spread love and compassion, to have a level of tolerance, to avoid judgmental ways of thinking and being, to meet people where they are on their path, and to do my best to share light.
When you say tolerance, do you also mean acceptance? Or they're quite different?
Yeah, sometimes life feels like a sword.
Yeah.
And there are two edges. There's the smooth side and there's the sharp side.
Yeah.
And I don't believe life is about one or the other. It's about living with suffering and bringing balance to both the smooth times, it's balancing the highs and the lows. And so being tolerant of the times that are low, that are difficult. And we are certainly experiencing a lot of that now.
So a lot of times I wonder if acceptance is the key, really, or it's a sign of inner peace.
Absolutely.
Not tolerance, though. I don't know. For some reason, I don't use that word. So that's why I asked Alana if it is different.
Well, it's funny because I may not have needed to even recognize the value of tolerance if we were not experiencing such times of uncertainty right now. And there's a great level of anxiety and blaming and attacking and intolerance. And so, yeah, I think you're absolutely right in the matching of tolerance with acceptance. We cannot change someone from their behavior or their thoughts or their patterns. We can only change ourselves in the way we respond, the way we respond to people or experiences that may cause an unsettling feeling in our lives.
Do you believe in a destination in a way when it comes to balance and tolerance and acceptance? Or is this movement, this dance, in and out of balance?
I believe it's both. I think life is a journey, but I'll speak for myself. It's constantly a dance because when I think I've got something figured out,
something else comes
ball
up.
will drop.
Yes. Tell me about it. It's a very interesting dance, from my perspective. Just watching that, exactly that. When I think I know something, then something else just shows up, declaring quite the opposite. Continue with the warm-up questions. Let me see. I'll ask you this one. What is your own definition for true leadership?
True leadership begins with setting your intention for the betterment of not only yourself, but for all others involved in your project. So, for instance, if you're leading a company that sells software product, removing it from the technical advantage, how does your company serve? How will this product serve humanity or serve the planet? And making that the destiny point. I think true leaders need to go outside of themselves and see the full vision of how their leadership, their style, what it is they're selling or what they stand for, how it affects everyone and everything else around them.
Can you tell me the difference between a leader and, let's say, a manager or director? Mm-hmm. How do we learn to recognize, not just outside of us, but even in ourselves when we are a leader?
Right. So I'd like to take it a further step and call it conscious leadership,
Right.
right? Because you can be a leader and be pretty selfish and narcissistic, and you can still lead others, and you can still lead a company into financial success.
Right.
But it may be so disruptive. So I'd like to say, thinking of yourself as a conscious leader, and that leadership can apply to any person. There used to be a UPS delivery person at a company I worked at some time ago, and he smiled. He smiled every day he came in. He smiled, and he knew everyone's name.
Oh, wow.
And there was no reason for that. And I remember commenting on it, and he said, well, I'm just grateful to get up in the morning. I'm grateful to have this job. I'm grateful to see you today and make your life happier. That's leadership.
What do you think is the purpose of the human experience?
I believe the purpose of the human experience is to accept, as you said, everything as it is, and to bring balance, to bring light into all situations. So when there is disharmony, dysfunction, conflict, to bring that open heart, that conscious leadership, without judgment, without attaching yourself to the result one way or another.
It's the ultimate goal, isn't it? For all of us to get to this state of being, of mind, which I think is a state of heart, isn't it, Alana?
It is a state of heart. In some cultures, the heart is considered the heart mind.
What is to be free from your perspective?
When I think of freedom, I think of dancing.
Yeah.
I love to dance, and there is such, almost a reckless abandon where you just open your arms and you're not concerned about how you look or how you sound, and it's about really coming completely into your own truth, without covering anything up. It's about being raw. And that's where our inner peace is.
True.
Inner peace is freedom in all situations.
So true. Do you connect this idea of freedom to authenticity?
Absolutely. I like to use this phrase as I'm guiding others and in my own life to use a safe level of detachment. And so that means to have your open heart, to have a level of vulnerability and empathy, but to be detached enough or distanced enough so that you aren't engaged or tied up or hooked into another person's story. Or so it's so that you can be authentic, so that you don't get so influenced or pulled in one direction or another, but to stay centered in your own divine nature.
So you wrote in your book, you have something, this phrase, you say, love is the essence of happiness. What are some of the greatest misconceptions about love from your perspective?
I think a misconception of love is that the person you love thinks and sees and feels the world the way you do.
Yeah. True.
And that's true. What we dream of that I think is a romantic idealism of love. But love in its greatest form is unconditional. It's loving something like a flower for its simple nature. And that flower will wake up and blossom, and it will close, and it will sleep, and it will eventually go away. And I think that's it, that letting go of controlling a relationship to maintain love. Do
you believe in unconditional self-love?
Oh, I believe in it. Not easy to accomplish.
Yes.
So I think I think, that probably is one of the number one purposes in life, is to love ourselves unconditionally. And it's not narcissism. It's not about saying, oh, I'm so great at this. And it's about, I am here now. This is all of me.
Right.
And I love my natural, imperfect, fabulous self.
Yes, just the way it is, right, in this moment. You wrote the book Mindfulness, Mantras, and Meditations, 55 Inspirational Practices to Soothe the Body, Mind, and Soul. Two initial questions, Alana. How did you become a writer, and what was the inspiration and intention of writing this book?
Well, I began creative writing at a young age. I lived in New York City for 10 years in the arts, in the world of arts, and I carried a journal around with me wherever I went. And so I wrote on a daily basis. Then I decided to get published. So I published some poetry, wrote for a few magazines, just one-off kinds of things. My mother was a writer. My grandmother was a writer. So it's in the family as well. And then I started writing for a magazine for women that's local here, an online magazine. I've been doing that for about 4 years. And I started this book quite a while ago. In fact, I started about 5 books. And I just never found the time or the intention to complete it until the global pandemic hit. And that for me was a transformational time that said, what have I not completed that I really want to get done? And this is book number 1.
So talk to me about how you discovered mindfulness and also meditation.
Mm-hmm. So as a teenager, I became a vegetarian, and I came across a book on transcendental meditation. So that was my entry into meditating. I went to a Catholic school for 6 years, so full-fledged prayer, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah.
And meditating is going deeper into your own personal soul and knowing that God's light lives within you, and to access that light. So meditation, it came very easily, very naturally. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do. And then when I lived in New York City, I studied at the New York Open Center, which is a holistic learning center, and learned all kinds of fun things in holistic health. I've always just been concerned about wellness and kindness. And so I've gotten a few certifications as a natural health professional, as a Reiki Master. And right now I'm working, training actually at Taramandala, which is a beautiful Tibetan retreat center in Colorado. And now most of the teachings are online. So I've learned all kinds of styles of meditation. And I think, that comes back to the question about spirituality. There's so many ways to access the divine, and the divine is love, right? The divine is love in its purest form.
Yes. Another question I often ask, not to everyone, but those who teach mindfulness, yoga, is the difference between mindfulness and meditation.
Right.
Is there a difference, Alana, really?
Yes, there is. Mindfulness is taking the meditation off the cushion. Right. So when you're sitting in meditation is a silent, quiet, reflective process. Sometimes it includes mantras, sometimes it includes prayers, sutras, but it's a very focused experience of bringing complete quiet to the mind and the spirit and the body. mindfulness is taking that experience of being in the present moment throughout your entire life. And so, and this may answer part of the other question, I've worked in the corporate world as well, and just experienced for myself the discord and the stress, the intense stress. And I think everyone's experiencing that now. Mindfulness allows us to be in that stress, acknowledge the stress without judging, without changing, simply being aware, and then that allows you to respond differently. So mindfulness is the gateway to bringing stress reduction throughout your day.
And breathing is very much part of it, because every time I think about being in the moment, even the thought of it then makes my breathing deeper immediately. It brings back the present moment. It's connected to the breath. From my experience, it has been.
The breath is the core of all meditations, of all meditation practices. It focusing on the breath. And yes, when we focus on our breath throughout the day, there's a difference. When we are experiencing stress or anxiety, the breath becomes more shallow and fast. And when we're more relaxed, we tend to breathe longer breaths. And so bringing that awareness, absolutely.
Do you see the idea, the state of mind of peacefulness, of being peaceful, the same as being calm and relaxed?
Yes, there's an inner peace that often reflects outward as calmness. It's funny, I've had, that is one word I've had many people describe me as. Like if I'm just meeting someone, within the first 10 minutes or a half hour, an hour, they'll say, "You're calm. I feel calm around you."
Yes.
I'm like, oh, good. Okay. That's great.
The state of calm and relaxation arises from inner peace. Would you say that?
It does. It does. And I think it's a practice. Right. I think we have a tendency as human beings to see what we don't have.
Yeah.
And then if you bring your awareness to that and be grateful for what you do have, that automatically brings a sense of calm. There's nothing wrong with striving to do your best and to achieve, but setting your intention and living with intention and purpose is far more enjoyable and brings a sense of inner peace, calm, and contentment.
In your book, you write, gratitude is one of the simplest forms of mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
So gratitude is connected to mindfulness, not meditation per se, Alana.
Right. You can turn gratitude into your meditation, if you bring yourself into a quiet, peaceful state of meditation where you're clearing your mind and you can focus. You can focus on the word gratitude, focus on its essence, its meaning. So, some meditations are clearing the mind, and that is the focus. Sometimes it's reflecting on an intention. But gratitude is a way of being and a way of thinking and falls more into the state of mindfulness.
Talk to me for a moment about the benefits of mindfulness and what gratitude is not.
The benefits of mindfulness are health and wellness. When we are stressed out, when we are stressed out emotionally, we stress out our body.
Yeah.
That is just written everywhere. And that's at the point where everyone agrees that that's true, including the Western medical industry. So mindfulness allows us to be in the present moment, allowing ourselves to recognize that we're in a stressful situation and basically says, it's okay. Mindfulness is saying, okay, here I am. Take a deep breath in and out. I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way this feels. So how can I shift my reaction into a healthy response? And maybe suggesting gratitude. What is good in this situation? It's really easy to go to the negative when we're in an uncomfortable situation. But what is the positive? How does this benefit yourself and others? And if we can come from that place, then responding to a crisis or a negative situation is a bit easier.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be much easier that way. Just the idea of being grateful, seeing, and it's not really being positive, because what I like about it is that we see reality as is and we accept it and we embrace it, and that from that we can be open to be grateful for even the negative things per se. As for what gratitude is not, would you like to make a comment on that?
I have to think about that. What gratitude is not. Gratitude is not complaining.
Right.
Gratitude is not comparing. We have a tendency to compare ourselves to others, and therefore everything is less than, or we are less than. So if you can remove comparison out of your vocabulary, out of your thought process, it'll allow you to be grateful. Gratitude is going to the beach and being prepared, knowing that the sun is going to be hot and you're wearing, the right, hat and protection gear so that you can enjoy it. Being grateful that you are prepared. And if not, sometimes gratitude allows you to be spontaneous and resourceful. Sometimes the best times are created out of malfunctions.
So true. You are also a musician. So you have music, you have published music, some CDs. Talk to me about that for a moment, Alana. How did you come across music?
I'm a natural singer. I'm trained as well, but I've been given the gift of voice. And so I began studying singing at a young age. I was always in the theater, and I got a degree in theater, and I did off-Broadway and led my own band, several different bands, wrote a bunch of music, and it's fun. It's just, talk about being your authentic self.
Right.
That's what you really need to be. I like to tell creatives the key, I believe, is in being creative is to hone your theory, understand your modality. If it's singing, then get trained and know what the technique is. But in the end, you've got to let it all go and allow that divine within your soul to come through. It's the soul. It's the soul in the music that captures people's attention.
You worked with Thich Nhat Hanh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how was that experience with him?
It was profound. He was visiting New York City, and I was, with the group that was hosting his visit, and so I was on the stage with him, and I saw some, serious devotees, and I had read a few of his books and very impressed. And what's really beautiful about Thich Nhat Hanh is he writes so simply and so profoundly, and it's almost like poetry.
Right.
And so I think that has influenced me so much by his simplicity. And one of his earliest books was Peace is Every Step. I'm saying every step is peace. And that's mindfulness. Every step. And then my all-time favorite book of Buddhism, which is by Thich Nhat Hanh, I think it's called White Clouds. And it's just a gorgeous story. It's just the easiest read. It's a pretty dense book, but it's beautifully written. So, it's just about kindness. It's being kind to yourself and others, right? It's all about love and compassion.
He has that presence, the presence of love and kindness, right? Gentleness. Would you like to add anything or read a passage in your book, Alana?
Well, I was thinking about the passage, and I thought the poem on gratitude, which is in the opening chapter, might be nice.
Yes.
What do you think?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Gratitude. Each day I awake, I offer thanks for the warmth of my bed, the comfort of home, the kindness of family. Each day I look around and give thanks for the beauty of the trees, the flowers, the rolling hills, the clouds in the sky, the birds singing their song, life passing along. Each evening, I give thanks for the food set in front of me, to nurture my body, the time to reflect and calm my mind. Each night, I lie in bed and give thanks for the extraordinary opportunity to live another day, to move in my miraculous body, to energize it with wholesome foods, to engage it in physical activity, to purify it inside and out with water, with the power of the mind to illuminate kindness, to pacify anger, to heal pain, to open to the possibility of doing it all again on a new day, if I'm so lucky.
Profound wisdom. I love the chapter 8, a fear of death. That's another one that caught my attention. And with that in mind, I have this question for you. It's a question that I ask all my guests. If you knew you would die soon, meaning losing the body, would you make any change in your life or do anything in a different way?
I would avoid procrastination a little bit more than I already am. I would not wait. I would not wait for anything. I would make things happen.
Yeah. And my last question is, what are 3 things about life you know for sure as of this moment?
We are responsible for ourselves. We are responsible to others. Life is never ending. Those are my 3 things.
Life is never ending. It really feels like it. It feels like it's never ending. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much, Alana, for your profound, timeless wisdom, your beautiful and relaxing, peaceful presence, the work you do to improve and to bring light to this reality and everything else in between. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Valeria. It was my pleasure. Thank you for all that you do.
Where can we find more information about you, your books, products, services, and future projects?
It's all on my website, which is my name, alanacahoon.com, and I'll spell that for you. That's ALANACAHOON.com.
I'll have that address on your podcast profile too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Valeria.
Bye for now, Alana.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about Alana Cahoon and her work, please visit alanacahoon.com.
To learn more about this podcast, please visit fitforjoy.org/podcast. Thank you again for listening, and bye for now.